All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. What's up, everyone? Waiting for people to trickle in. How you doing? Hi, Anessa. Hi, Amanda. How you guys doing? Welcome. Hey, Mert. What's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday. I don't know what day it is half the time. That's okay. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome, welcome. So we're just gonna wait for a few more people to trickle in. We have Peanut here with us today. He's just down here, my dog. He will make an appearance as usual. So I hope you guys are doing well. From Australia, Amanda. Awesome. Aw. I haven't been back in Australia in a long time, dude. But I gotta get back at some point. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just prepping, lots to do. I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks, guys. So I'm probably not gonna be doing any lives when I'm overseas. So this is gonna be, I think this is gonna be the last live on Insight Timer for a while. But that's okay. I'll be back. I'll be back once I'm back. So, hey, Johnny, I see you. Having my green tea. Hi, guys. What's up? Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, let me have a little spiel before we get into it. But welcome for those of you who are new. My name is Jacqueline. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored to meet you. So these readings are very simple. Essentially, I start off with a group reading so that everybody gets something. And then essentially, if people give a donation, they just lock their position in. They get a little bit of a longer reading. And if not, no problem. I will get to everybody, but you might have to hang around depending whether donations are given or not. So yeah, and then that's it. And then we usually have a lot of fun. I am in a bit of a time crunch today. I'm teaching a class tonight, so I have to make sure that I have enough time, but it should work out. But yeah, guys, so welcome. So I want to talk a little bit about what's going on for me, maybe quickly before we get into it. So I am turning 40 soon, and 4 is my number. And I am going through some sort of like, I feel like I'm ready for some kind of like identity shift or some kind of transformation. And so I'm going to be taking these 3 weeks right now to obviously go away, see my family, do some healing there, and really just make some new decisions on what my future is going to be or what my intentions, my goals. And so I'm very excited about that because I feel like it's time. And it's funny how I've had this like awareness that when I was younger, I really wanted to be someone. You know what I mean? I wanted to be somebody important and like famous, or I don't know, I wanted to have an impact, or and it's funny how the older I get now, the less I desire this and the less I've realized that this is not the important thing. Um and so my priorities and who I am is very much shifting, and I think there's nothing wrong, by the way, with wanting things for yourself and wanting uh that kind of stuff for yourself. But for me, I think I'm just really at that point where I've done so much healing now that I just really want to be of service. I really want to connect. I want to do more healing. I think I'm going to amplify my spiritual work, which has been doing really well. And my acting stuff is still going to be there, but I think I'm going to be more in like the position of power in it because I hate depending on other people. So, yeah, so it's going to be exciting. So we'll see where it goes. But I think setting that intention and really sitting with yourself and having that spiritual time to be still and not be doing much and just really being like, who am I? What do I want? What do I want to go? So that's really where I'm going to be focusing on in the next few weeks. Oh, you're also turning 40, Amanda. Amazing. Happy birthday. Yeah, 40 is like for me, well, my life path number is the number 4. And I also my Instagram and all that is Jacqueline 444. So I have a thing with fours. So I always, for me, it's like, and 444 just now, I just saw 4 seconds. So for me, and 44 gratitude. Yo, that was creepy. That was creepy. Okay, in a good way. So that's all confirmation, by the way. So there's something about the 40. It's so funny because my mom used to tell me it was like when I was younger to enjoy my life and like all this sort of stuff. And I was like, I hated my 20s. I hated my teenage years. Awful. And I feel like the older I get, the better my life gets. You know, and I really believe that. So I feel like the more I'm getting older, the happier I am, the more connected I am, the more I feel who I am. And I feel like sometimes people just associate being young with like happiness, and I'm like, not necessarily. Like, you're new to this world, you're still discovering, you're still trying out things. So I don't know. Anyway, so, in the meantime, since everybody's here now, I feel like a few people have joined. Let's begin with the group reading. So, I just want you guys to send me some energy, any intention, anything that I could help you with. Hopefully, it'll come through with the group reading. And whenever you're ready, just give me permission to access your energy. And I'm assuming anybody who enters here, I'm having that permission. Let's see what comes out. Peanut's here with us today. He is sleeping as always. Peanut works very hard. Don't you, Peanut? You work so hard by doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, I love you. Little Chihuahua power. One of the things I told my husband that I want for my 40th birthday is another dog. He's not thrilled about that. Don't care. I want to rescue another dog, so we'll see. I'm going to try and go to the shelter and hopefully rescue another one. There's like an influx of Chihuahuas, so I told him, I was like, we'll just get another Chihuahua. It's like kind of like two of those make one dog, so, you know, technically then would have two dogs instead of three. Okay, interesting. Okay, so a lot of you are having some relationship stuff going on, a lot of relationship problems. And well, not necessarily. So whatever the problem is can be resolved. There's a lot of mental um imbalance, I feel. And so the first card that we got is, you know, the restoring the balance. So if you are having any issues with relationships, I'm feeling like this is a good time to resolve it, to heal it. So, in fact, one of the things that I'm deciding to do when I go to Italy, for instance, is to resolve a lot of my issues with my family, because it's my opportunity that everybody's there, to bring back light into that darkness and to try to find some kind of peace in the resentment and the anger and the past. You know what I mean? So I think this is just a frequency that's coming up, maybe especially for me, because maybe I'm doing the reading and I'm connected to it, but I'm sure you guys are here because you're a mirror to this. So I'm sure there's a lot of that as well. Um, but understand that a lot of this at the end of the day is also, a lot of it is mental, and if we can change our perspective and start thinking of things from a whole different point of view, or a whole different light, or from a higher frequency, especially, that's what I've been doing. I feel like it can really help us see that there are ways to resolve this, or there are other ways maybe to let it go. Even sometimes it's not about like even having to fix it. Sometimes it's just a matter of just letting it go. But I'm hearing peace is important right now. And again, I see a lot of people are having like a lot of mental stress and a lot of like anxiety, maybe, and a lot of just something's bothering, you know, it's something that isn't like bringing you that peace. And so, again, and then see, relationships. So I feel like this is around relationships, and it could, even for those of you who are in a happy relationship and there's not much, a lot of stuff, it could be a relationship to your job, a relationship to yourself. But the theme of the relationship is coming up. So what I'm hearing here is, especially, it's like a lot of base chakra energy. So this is like a lot of safety and, again, ungroundness, but it's also mental. So I feel like it's the two extremes, right? So I would suggest, obviously, if this is the case, just do a bit of healing, do a bit of grounding, but understand that maybe focusing our energy into the possibility of love and peace, regardless of what's going on, is the key right now. So one of the things that I'm realizing, for instance, with my situation with my family, is that when I think of them energetically, it's a very dark, heavy energy that I have, because of the resentment in the past and the traumas that I've experienced. And I haven't been able to forgive them. But the I started to connect to the version of me that is healed, that is maybe has forgiven, and that has found some kind of a peace in that relationship. And the more I focus on it, the more I can see it possible, it being a possibility. And the more I focus on that energy, I realized how important that is, because it's not about, you know, I can't go back in the past and fix what happened. I can't change what happened, but I can change who I am now and my relationship to it today. And so I think that mental piece, relieving ourselves from this like torture, basically, that we constantly have, that story, or that like negative broken record that keeps playing, is a possibility to bring us back into a state of peace. And when we are healed in our hearts, guys, you can actually receive more love and you can receive more abundance and more experiences. And this is my main reason why I want to do it. It's not really to forgive, like, I mean, sure, I want them to be happy and all that sort of stuff, but it's really coming from a very selfish place, in the sense of I'm ready to receive what I'm worthy of. I'm ready to receive that love, that abundance, that light, that connection. But as long as I hold this poison in my heart, it's hard for me to trust other people, to let other people in, to walk in with that light and that joy. And so, yes, it's selfish, but it's also not selfish. But in the sense of there is just, this just needs to be healed because it's hurting me at the end of the day. And when it hurts me, then it hurts everybody who's close to me. And so you end up in this vicious cycle, right? So again, it's not about letting people getting away with it. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself so that you can thrive. And these things are very important to heal and to essentially um, transform and change. And you have the power to do that. So I think that the message of today is to remember that you have the light within you and you have the power to shift that light. Cool. That was unexpected. Surprise. Okay. So let's begin, guys. So if anybody has a question, feel free. If anybody gives a donation, you know how it works. You essentially lock your position in, but not expected, of course. So if anybody has a question, now it's the time to feel free to ask. And just a reminder, guys, this is going to be my last session for a while, unfortunately. So I am going away. I'm going to be on a holiday for about 3 weeks, and she's going to be offline for a while. I'm always going to be online, but social media and stuff, but so yeah, let me know, y'all. And if you follow me online as well, please do. I might do some lives there. I don't know. Would like any work related guidance. Okay. So let's see. Let me tune into your energy. You're a sneeze. Nope. Psych. Psych. Okay, so you got the shapeshifters. Are you good, Peanut? Oops. I'm sorry, Peanut. I gave you all of the cards, didn't I? You don't care. Okay, so let's see what's coming up. So when we get the shapeshifters, essentially it means a couple of things, Amanda. It can mean essentially that you're feeling either kind of stuck, actually. That's what I'm feeling right now. So it's kind of like you feel stuck, like you can't get out of a situation, or you want to get out of the situation, but you're not quite sure how. A lot of 2 energy. Okay. Anything else from these cards? There we go. Okay. Let me see what else. Let me get more cards. This one was hot. Okay. Ooh, nice. Okay. So I'm going to get 3 cards because it just has 6 cards. Sorry, because it helps me tell the whole story. Okay. So essentially what I'm hearing here is adaptability, but also making peace, because there's a lot of 2 energy right now that I'm seeing as well. So the 2 energy essentially is making peace with where you're at. Sometimes when we reject our situation or we resist it or we fight it or we're just like in a negative headspace about it, we're creating more resistance and friction. So I don't know if you want to change or if you want to upgrade or if you want to make more money. I'm not quite sure what the issue is. You got to trust yourself here, right? But essentially, the first step is to find peace with where you're at, accepting where you're at. From there, essentially, there needs to be some kind of a change. So the shapeshifters is all about change and transformation and finding like a win-win outcome. The next, you got the forest fairies. Okay, so the forest fairies remind you to stay true to your nature and walk your own path, even when it feels easier to follow the crowd. You are meant to live authentically, not to fit into expectations that don't align with your soul. Follow what fills your heart and fuels your purpose. At the same time, be mindful of self-sabotaging behaviors that may be holding you back. Trust yourself, embrace your uniqueness, and allow your spirit to flourish freely. So this card essentially, it's kind of like flower fairies are like the type of people who are pack animals. Like they need the group. But the problem with them is that when they end up in a toxic group, they it can destroy their purpose and their life, and they can really go off track. So sometimes it requires them to release, to let go of that group and to find a new group that is more in alignment with their intention, their goals, or their manifestations, or whatever it may be. So this could mean something like that for you right now. Essentially, is like maybe the environment or the place that you're in isn't allowing you to see more potential and more possibilities of growth, of change, or whatever it may be. So essentially, this is requiring you really to take some time to get to know yourself again from a fresh point of view. Like, where do you want to go? Who do I want to be? What is the vision of the identity of that version of me that is that goal, right? And then begin to follow the trails towards that. And it sometimes requires to release certain things that aren't there. I am hearing though that you need to do a lot of energy work first. So really, like, again, connecting to yourself, getting to know yourself from a different place, like being honest with like what you want, how you feel, what is working, what is not working. Like really maybe even sitting down and making a list, because with the list at least you can see it and you write it down and you make it material. As long as you keep things in your head, it's hard to really like delegate and see things properly. So I always make lists, I always write things down. Lately I've been journaling as well as doing my affirmations, and it's been so powerful because I'm wanting to reconnect to myself, to re-speak to myself. I've been doing mirror work exercises. So these kind of things really help you to connect to who you are and who you really are and what you want. And then suddenly those whispers become louder and louder. That inner voice becomes more familiar. And then you start to really understand what you really want. Um, look, the thing is abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time. Make long-term plans. So what I'm seeing here essentially for you is just you got to sit down and make a plan. I think again, I keep feeling that this is just mostly in your head and you haven't really sat down. You're just in your feelings. Like, this feels shit. I don't know. I don't know. And so again, that's why the peace, make peace with it. Because when you make peace with it, it's like, okay, it is shit. And now what? Like, it's almost like now I can see the problem. Now what? And then you got to basically like do the work. So I see that making a map, or at least having some ideas of what you want to change, and writing it down is always the first step. Then you can let it go or not, but doing the work is the key, because now you're really telling yourself that you're serious about this, and you're also telling the universe that you're serious about it. So it's going to give you people, places, and things that hopefully will begin to guide you in that direction. The inflow of abundance, promising business venture, important documents or contracts. So as long as you do this, I'm seeing that there can be some kind of a change and upgrade for sure, and it's in there. These two cards, this is the outcome usually of the situation. And so the change is there. It is possible. It's totally doable, and it is going to happen for you. But you've got to do, again, you've got to be clear about what you want and really set those intentions. And then traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. Again, I feel like something about your environment is not serving you. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's people or your job or whatever, it's kind of holding you back. So finding that energy, that frequency that matches the vision of what you want. They always tell this, and this is something, a serious thing. If you watch a lot of like millionaires and stuff, they all talk about it. It's like, you know, when you hang around high frequency people, it elevates your frequency. So, you know, you kind of got to like, and I'm not saying that don't hang out with those people anymore, don't go to work, you know, but notice it, pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, look at it from a different perspective so you can really see it for what it is. Um, so I feel like this shift is for you, and also being open to getting like a mentor or somebody who can give you some advice on what to do next. Somebody who's already successful in that department, though. Don't just go to your best friend who is broke, okay? Because that's not the person for the advice. The person that's going to give you advice, you might not even like them, okay? But if that person's very successful and know what they want and what they're doing, and you want what they have, that's the person to go to ask for advice. So the possibilities are there for you. You just got to make these changes, and you got to sit down and just really just do the work. Thanks. Great to know. I'd love to make this list. All right, great. I'm glad that makes sense. So best of luck. You got this, okay? So Jess, I see your message, by the way. Give me 1 second. My aunt passed away recently, and I feel like she's around me. Oh, you're so welcome, Amanda. Okay. Yeah, just if you so a lot of the times, sometimes people who have transitioned, it's easier for them to connect to us. It's just that usually we have the issue to connect to them. I'm not a medium, so I can't give you like specific advice on mediumship stuff. But I can only tell you from what I know. So one of the things that you can do just when you want to communicate with somebody who's passed over is just ask them to send you signs and be very specific about something that means something to you. So you can say, hey, Aunt, like, could you please send me this sign or this thing or this, specific white rose or like some kind of an image. Um, I think that's really the way to kind of get there and get it done. From what I've heard, I've asked it and I've never gotten signs. And then I know people who have asked for signs and then they've gotten the signs. I kind of just think about the person in my head or I just talk to them when I see them because I feel like I just know that they're there. But I can see if anything else comes up and just see if anything comes up for you since we're here and anything that we can. Okay, well, ooh, okay, all right. Okay, so I feel like one of the things that I've heard is like the first card that came up for you, Jess, was difficult to transition. I was her. I don't know what POA stands for. Sorry, person. But anyway, so I got inner child healing. So I think that's something about I don't know if your aunt had helped you with power of attorney. Gotcha. Sorry. I'm like, I'm dumb. No, I'm not dumb. So inner child came up. So this is actually healing your inner child. And I think also her has transitioned. It's going to help you a lot with inner child healing. I don't know why, but this is coming up very strongly. And I heard it in my head very, very clearly. There is some stuff obviously that you need to heal from your childhood. And I think because she's family, especially when they cross over, sometimes they were here to help us with certain specific things. And I feel like for some reason she has some kind of connection or purpose to that, or at least teaching you something about that. You got to honor your feelings though, Jess. You got to be more okay with like things not sometimes being great or, you know, being okay. Or, I mean, I feel like you just got to be more gentle and more compassionate to yourself. I think you're a little bit hard on yourself. And I feel like, and I think you have a lot of responsibilities, like being a power of attorney, but I think there's other things on top of this that are piling on for you. I feel like a bit of heaviness. So, what I'm hearing here, especially because this makes sense with the inner child stuff. And also, then you see you got the beauty self care, right? So, I feel like this is all happening because it's really reminding you of the importance of taking care of yourself. And sometimes, as well, when somebody crosses over, it reminds us very quickly of how short life is, how important this moment is, how we don't, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And so, let's just say tomorrow wasn't guaranteed for you. What would you do different? So, you got to start changing the way that you have a relationship to life, to be quite honest. And this is something that I'm even doing with myself, because the older we get, hey, the shorter time we have. That's the reality of it. It's not something to be scared of, it's just something to be aware of. And if we're unhappy, if things aren't working out, if things aren't going in the direction, the shorter time that we have, it's so important to just make this place heaven on earth for us because it's a very difficult place to do that. So, how can you do that? Do the healing work, do the forgiveness, but also above everything else, just I feel with you, you got to treat yourself with a lot more respect and kindness. I feel like one of the things I'm going to give you the best advice that I can give anybody who has a lot of problems with that is every time you speak shit to yourself or abuse yourself or don't give yourself that rest or whatever, picture yourself as that inner child, little you who never got the love, who never got the, I don't know, whatever it is that that specific wound is, because you have a chance to give it to her now. So one of the things that I'm doing lately, it's like I don't work a normal job and I refuse to do a normal job no matter what, because that because I worked so hard and really rough in my 20s and in my teenage years that I was like, I deserve better. And again, of course, I have to pay bills and all that sort of stuff, but for some reason, it's always worked out for me. So I have this new faith and I have this new relationship with the world, and I'm choosing a different path and a non conventional path, which comes with a lot of risks. But at the same time, it's also an adventure, and it's also like looking at it from that child's point of view, right? So again, and I'm not saying be irresponsible, okay? Because I work hard. I just work the things that I like and that give me life and then give me energy and joy and fulfill me, which still means sometimes I have to work harder. Sometimes I'm working on weekends when my friends can go out, and I can't show up to things. And I'm okay with that though, because I'm still doing things that I love. So I'm not saying this for you, but just be aware of the little things that you're doing because it can really change a lot for you, okay? And I think that she's coming through because on the other side, she can really help you with that. So trust the information and the guidance that she can give you, okay? Then you're welcome, by the way. Thank you. Yes, at 40, I don't want to choose what I. Oh, I love that. You're so welcome. Okay, I see you, Mert. How can I remember my purpose on earth? That's a great question. Okay, so this is something that I'm kind of trying to work on as well, and I literally just did a meditation about it 10 minutes ago. Ironically, synchronicity. So one of the things I will say is first and foremost, identity is one of the biggest things, right? So we, unfortunately, as we get older, there's a lot of subconscious programming that we take on. We usually, because of survival, because of society, because of the negative energy on this planet, and when we're born, we're very much connected to source energy. So we come in with full of life, full of this light, full of this something, right? And then over time, it kind of just dims away, and we kind of remember it, or we know it's something was there, right? I will say that there's a couple of options, by the way, with that is one, beginning to just sort of dissolve any sort of identity. And that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said at the opening of this live today, I was talking about how back in the day I wanted all these things. And now I'm starting to realize that I want to become no one. Because when you are no one, when you don't have so much of attachments and things, you're free. So when we have this ego, which is I want to be this person and I want to have this status, there's nothing wrong with still desiring those things. I can still be no one and desire those things. But when we have this identity, we can create a lot of suffering because if we don't get it, then it's painful. And then we keep hitting this wall and it creates even more pain. So I'm at this point where I'm just like, imagine just not having that pressure on yourself and beginning to be free. And then I can do and be anything that I want. And I think that sometimes that helps you to find your purpose. But above everything else, it's also what you want it to be. And I think deep down, look at who you are. And we're talking even in your childhood, what did you love doing? What was it that you felt connected to? What did you dream about? And again, if you didn't have to get paid, if money was infinite and you didn't have to get paid, what would you do? Sometimes our purpose doesn't mean it means we're going to make money from it. Okay. Sometimes our purpose can be just being the light in the room. Sometimes our purpose can be being an amazing feeding people. And sometimes our purpose can be a job where we help other people. So I'm going to tap into that just in case. But that's something for us to really start like rethinking. And also you can give yourself purpose. Like for instance, let's just say my purpose is to create art, but then through my art, I can still heal, which is also where I'm starting to think that my acting is going to go into. Yeah. You got too many burdens, man. You got a lot on your shoulders. So you got to put your burdens down. That's the first card that came up, okay? So you're holding on. Your ego is very attached to a lot of things. And I think when we're very attached, it's almost like it creates tension and it's hard to be able to relax. It's when you relax. Oh, there you go. Yeah. And especially as artists, like I will say, we have to survive. We need to pay the bills, right? That's the problem. And there's also like subconscious programming maybe around that where artists have to struggle to be creative, to be successful, to be all of this crap. And it's like, no, look at all the other artists who are not suffering and making millions of dollars showing up for like a 5-second cameo or for like putting a dot on a canvas and then that's $5 million. Like there is all of that as well. So you got to start just by releasing everything that doesn't serve you. So start thinking about the things that aren't serving you. Okay. So the things that are causing you suffering and pain and all that sort of stuff is just like, just start to let them go, even emotionally, because those things are keeping up rent in your head and in your energy field. That is blocking energy to come in. If you're full, you have no space for anything else to come in. Information, guidance, inspiration. So we want to essentially just like release it and just be still for a while. It's okay not to achieve or do anything for a while. You got a lot of stuff to do with power and status, by the way. So I see your own power. Hey CG, hey Tim. So connecting to that higher self, Mert, is the key. Keep connecting to that higher energy, to that higher power. Keep asking the question and release more and more so that you can receive more and more and begin to receive that download and that information. And then you're gonna know you're on the right path because the status surge. How do you know you're not on track? If you're suffering and everything is shit. And again, it's not to say that you wouldn't get like challenges or difficulties or like, things get complicated. But when you're on track, you go into a flow state and then things just start moving in the direction that they're meant to. So that's how you know that you're doing the right things or you're acting in alignment with what you're meant to do or with your intention or with your manifestation. But you gotta shed that weight. That is what's slowing you down, is weighing you down, is creating all of these obstacles and blocks. And it can also, again, take up rent in your energy field and in your mind. So there's no space for anything else to come through. So does that make sense? Peanut, you want to say hi? There's a peanut. It's peanut. Aren't you hot? It's peanut, everybody. La piñata, la piñata. Do, 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 do. La piñata. Oh, you're so welcome, Mert. You're the baby, you're a little famous boy, aren't you? Everybody loves you. Yeah, mommy loves you more than anything else. Mm. Okay, I'll put you down. Bye bye. Say bye bye. Good job. Okay, cool. Yeah, anytime, man. All right. Anybody else? Hi, guys. By the way, welcome for those of you just joined in. What's happening? Oh, thank you, Johnny. How you doing, man? Yes, me too, Yanessa. I'm obsessed. I'm actually like, I'm going away. And so I'm like prepping for the pet sitters. And we've had fires again. So I had to do like an evacuation prep for them as well. I have a couple of guys that are on medication. Like it's always the same story. But I just got to trust that they're going to be taken care of. Everything's going to be fine. I always get anxiety about my babies leaving them, so I have a lot of babies. Okay, Johnny, so what's up? What's your question? Doing pretty good, but would like a circle back to something we spoke about a while back. Absolutely. What's up? I've given feedback to one of the individuals, but I'm struggling with the feedback to the other person, the surgeon. Any advice on how I can move forward or what is blocking me? Okay. I can't really remember exactly what the thing was, but we'll see what comes through anyway. So I trust that. Yeah, I remember something. Now it's kind of coming back. Sorry, brain, but okay. So let me tune in. Thanks, Tim. I got you next. I heard status. I feel like that person is more in a position of power, which is kind of intimidating. I think that's probably why. Let's see what comes up. So the first thing that I heard just before we got into it, Johnny, was that they were actually like very proud of you for speaking up to begin with, for like actually like starting to move forward. I just don't, I heard a couple of things as well. Like one of them is just not the right time, and you can feel that. So I don't feel like it's so much like a block necessarily, or you're doing anything wrong. I think you're just very sensitive to the situation as well. And I think you know that there takes a certain time and place um, to, uh, to speak up. You know, it has to almost be like the perfect formula for you, and you will know it. Um, I don't know if you're thinking about like changing job though. I do see like a possibility of, or at least some kind of a change. Because we see here the inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts. Then I see new career moves, purposeful action, and then the Fool. So I'm getting a mixed match of energies right now. But that did come in very clearly. And again, I just feel like because this person is of status, you have to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more tactful in your approach. Yeah, I can't remember. So sorry, I just can't remember what we talked about the last time. So I think that's why it's also a bit confusing me. But I feel like there's just like these two energies coming through. It's almost like one, everything's gonna work out, but then the next, it's gonna basically bring you into an enigma, a new kind of like, you know, when we get the Fool card, it's like leaping into something. Okay, I see what it means. Okay, so yeah, so I think it's just very clear. I don't feel like it's doing something too crazy. I think it's because now it makes sense now that I'm looking at this. It's like just be purposeful. It was last year, so I don't expect you to remember. Oh, okay. I was like, am I just forgetting? Because I'm usually pretty good. I was like, damn. Yeah, so I just feel like just prepare for the right time and place to do that. Because you see, I'm seeing this like she's on the skateboard, right? And then we have this on it and then this on it, right? So I could see if she, as long as she's purposeful, then it's going to be okay. But if she's not, then you can kind of like, I think there's the fear of messing things up. But again, because this person is of status, it can create some sort of issue. So, right place, right time, right energy, and just trusting yourself that you know how to do this correctly. Um, but also just be prepared because I feel like it's going to happen unexpectedly. So, you know, events that occur, great speed, take time, carefully review your options, creative solutions. So, the first one is kind of like was the practice for the big one, if that makes sense. So, you're ready, you got it. Just trust yourself. When it happens, you're going to be ready, you're going to feel it, you're going to know it. But again, don't do anything like too impulsive or emotional. That's basically what I'm hearing here. And as long as you do it that way, you should be okay. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything else about that. I just want to see if they can tell me anything else. Do you want to know anything more specific? Because it might help me to give you a little bit more clearer direction. Yeah, so they're prepping you. But I do see abundance, and I do see, yeah, and also like your fears or desires are clouding your true perception of the situation or someone. Yeah. So I think take this time to really work on like trying to be as neutral as possible emotionally when you do address it, because emotions, I think that's the full card that I saw. It's like when you're very emotional, we say and do stuff that, like, you know, then we regret later. Because if you look back, you could have approached that situation with grace and self-worth, you know what I mean? And so it's almost like really remembering to focus on that version of you that knows how to hold their power, knows how to stand their ground, and knows how to be graceful in any situation, and not allowing it to yeah, to basically become a disaster. But I do see good stuff. Why do I keep seeing money? I don't know. I keep seeing money, money, money coming through. So as long as you do it the right way, honestly, you're gonna be fine. Just don't like yell or scream or punch someone in the face, and you should be okay. Is there anything else that Johnny needs to know? I'm just gonna ask for you. But I did hear clear because this person is of a higher status, so of course it's more scary. So just be aware of as well of like he's just a person. You know, I mean, yeah, maybe in the sense of he can affect your job, I guess. That's what maybe the fear is, but don't look at him as like somebody above you as well. Don't give him that power when you walk in the room. Be the person who's like, you're an equal to me. And I have every right to say this to you. Because I know that when somebody has a title, then for some reason they're just put on a pedestal. And that's absolutely not the truth. Yeah. So the wizards are asking you to connect to your higher self, receive the answers you seek. They also urge you to take a bird's eye view of the situation, and this perspective will help you see the truth and the right choice. So, yeah. So it's basically literally like, how can you step back from this? Again, I keep hearing higher self, higher perspective. So it's almost like stepping back and looking at the situation for what it is and just not being emotional about it. Um, And when you do as well, tapping into that higher self, like that version of you that already, that knows that it's right, that holds that power, that has that groundness as well. Because if you walk in with that scattered, fearful, chaotic energy, then that's also what the person receives. And if that person's manipulative or, um, likes to play power games, they're going to spot that a mile away and they're going to like destroy you. So you want to walk in with that stillness and that calmness and that grace, you know what I mean? Because when you walk in with that, then they're like, oh, I can't mess with this person. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. Yes. So with bullies, they only bully people who are beneath them, usually. They don't go after somebody of higher status or somebody who's equal. So mirroring his energy and walking in with that groundness and literally setting that intention for yourself and not allowing him to scare you. It's like they can throw all this stuff at you, but just do not be swayed. And again, calling in that higher power, that higher self, that worthy self. And using that anger maybe and that to fuel you to alchemize that into power and not like as energy to lash out. So seeing yourself again as an equal to him, it's like when he gives you that energy, when you walk in, you almost like mirror. This is actually a technique, by the way, that we used to do, that I was taught. I never did it, but that we were taught when we were doing door to door, when I used to sell solar door to door. It's called the mirror technique. So you basically mirror the body language, the energy, and everything of the person that you meet, because it makes them feel familiar. And so there is something to that, right? So if he's giving you this stoic, slow kind of talk, then you begin to get stoic and slow and talk. Not threatening. Don't ever threat, because that's never gonna go well. But we're talking about body language and energy, right? So if you can do that, that's also going to throw him off, because he's now being mirrored to his own energy and he probably doesn't know how to do that. So I'm hearing that that's going to help you a lot with the situation. But it's timing. It's just not the right time. So you're not doing anything wrong. So yeah. Does that make sense? I feel like I want to give you more, but maybe direct me, or if you feel good, like you let me know. What is your peanut? You tell him peanut. Or I can just send peanut. Peanut will attack. The Chihuahua power. Have you heard of the Chihuahua power? Do they know the Chihuahua power? I think that they know the Chihuahua power. No. You're like a pit bull. You're so mean. That makes sense. I'll do the work in preparation and wait for the right timing. Okay. Yeah, you got this, man. I know it's scary though. It sucks. It's not fun. But, Johnny, I do feel for you. This is like an experience that you've contracted to have because once you experience this, it's going to change something in you and you're going to start having more self respect and more self belief. And I think it's very important. So just remember that. Peanut agrees. Oh, I love him so much. Okay, Tim. It's just like, oh, I love him so much. Peanut says you're welcome. Can we just do a show of just looking at Peanut sleeping? That should be everything. You're not sleeping. We're just cuddling. All right. Identified a pattern recurring recently. That's amazing. This week I decided to respond in a way that I found challenging, heavy, and also fun. It was exciting and draining. But as I contemplated and planned details, the hard decision I felt like I needed to do. And as I did it, felt like the universe was giving me strong signs it was right to do what I was doing. So I'm wondering if I'm on the right line of breaking that pattern while also trying to keep pursuing many other adventures. Amazing, dude. Congratulations. Okay, sorry, let me tune in. What do you think, Peanut? Do you think he did it? No, it's okay, Tim. It should be fine. I don't need any more details. You've given me like direction for it. Meh. Peanut. Get comfortable, buddy. Okay, there you go. Oop. No, it fell. Eek. Okay. We'll get there. Oop, there we go. That one flipped over. Anything else? Oh, I like this one. Okay. Woo. Love it when they flip over. When they fly out. You know that that's the one. That's the one. Ooh, I almost cooked. Okay. So the first card, you got to seek out other possibilities. Look for the magic in life. Be aware of your own emotions. So what I'm hearing here really is that you are finally becoming aware of your own emotions. You are starting to, like you said, I think hey, Dylan, you're starting to see the patterns. You're starting to recognize things like you said, and you're starting to make different choices. Oh, so Tim, I actually feel like it's like your higher self is actually like talking to you lately. It's like stepping in and really helping you with this. Your higher self or your angel, your guides, whatever. There's like a part of you that's really like supporting you along the way for this. So because of this decision, I do see that change is coming. Yeah. So it's time and you're ready for it. And I think, so we got sudden activity and sudden changes. And then the next card is like committed romantic relationship. So I don't know what you did, but you did something. Okay. So whatever you did is changing things in motion. And I think it's leading you towards what you really want. And I think you're starting to understand that and actually embody that. There's a difference between knowing something and being wise. It's like when you're wise, you do it, you follow through with it, you behave in it, you embody it, you just know. And I think that's what's happening. I think you're almost like maturing to the next level. And the other thing is it's building a lot of confidence and strength within you, actually, because I'm seeing it's like speak your mind with confidence, seek out professional advice, balance mental and emotional consideration, challenging information, and then defend your beliefs and decisions, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. Okay, so what I'm also hearing here is that this is not going to be the first one. All right, they're going to be more coming, because one of the things that you're going to have to understand is that when you start making changes, you're going to be tested. Okay, the universe is like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah. And you're like, are you really sure? And you're like, yeah. But are you really sure? Okay, so that's how you'll know that you've changed or that you've really done the change. It's because when the tests keep coming at you, you just don't budge. I always refer to when I stopped smoking, it's like you quit smoking and then somebody offers you a huge bag of like free grass and you're like, what now? This whole time when I just quit, you're deciding to give me everything? And if you've really identified as that version of yourself and you've really made the change, you go, no, I'm good, thank you. Then I end up in Jamaica and then I can't smoke. And they're like, you sure? And I'm like, listen, I'm not doing this anymore, right? So it's a silly example, right? But that's how it works. So when you make the decision, things will test you and test you. My friend from salsa class friend zoned me a while back. She was talking about this guy she pinned over for 2 years. Another friend helped me convince her to go to my birthday dinner with just us. Then, in a couple of days, I got 19 people together to join for a surprise birthday dinner. I invited the guy she likes. I put her chair next to him. Somehow, I delayed her perfectly to give folks time to show up. It went flawlessly. Amazing. Well, that's very generous of you, and that's very sweet. You're very, very sweet with that. But I think, again, I do think that you're going to be manifesting something soon. Just understand though that you're still gonna be tested, Tim. And it's like just knowing who you are now and being confident in that and being strong in that and showing that to the world and putting your boundaries down when necessary and then being generous. She was surprised and she hit me and pretended to be mad. She had no idea and loved it though. Okay. So you like this girl though, and you set her up with her ex? Is that what you say? God, you're funny, dude. Like, as you should. But hey, maybe you're just showing her, either you're mind messing her or or you're doing the right thing. Is like, hey, this is your choice. If you want to go for it, and if not. But I think it's also like good for you to know your boundaries and know who you are. Like I said, that's nice, Tim. That's very sweet of you. I think it's also just trusting the process. I think really that's what I feel like you've done. It's just like if somebody's meant for me, it'll happen. But if it's not, that's okay. And even if you set them up, it doesn't matter what's going to happen. If you're really meant to be with somebody, they'll come back to you. You know what I mean? And they'll appreciate the little gestures that you've done. And they'll see that. So, but I do feel like also just honor as well yourself and to say this, I'm worthy of somebody who really chooses me and wants to be with me because I want to choose them as well. Does that make sense? So finding that strength as well, letting go is great, because it's also like a form of like absolute trust, but also like I see here, it's like Now declaring this for yourself as well is like, I'm letting go because I deserve somebody who chooses me. I deserve somebody who wants to be with me. Does that make sense? And you do deserve that, you know. Let me see if anything else comes up. But I do see changes happening. It makes sense why the relationship card came up. Let's see, does this one come up? Let's see if anything else wants to come up. Again, stand your ground. Making new friends. Transformation. Okay. You know what I like about this actually? Oh, okay, interesting. So you know what I like about this, Tim? Oh, we have a hidden agenda. I have gotten a lot more attention from ladies online and in person. Some random lady in the gym walked up to me because she recognized my hair. Oh, that's so sweet. It's not that, it's because, again, this is what's happening. You're standing your ground. You're becoming more secure within yourself, Tim. So giving somebody up who normally most people would actually maybe try to avoid that kind of situation or try to be possessive or kind of be like, oh no, sit her next to me and don't invite the ex. There's something there that meant something to you, obviously, that it was maybe the trust and the letting go and just being enough. And if she doesn't see that, that's okay, because there was like, you're starting to feel like, again, these two were underneath each other. So it's like, stand your ground and feeling safe. You're beginning to feel safe in your identity and who you are. It's not like you never felt safe in your identity, by the way. I know that you're very like free and do your thing, but what I mean by in this department, in the love department, because we can be very secure and confident in certain areas in our lives, but then when it comes to a certain topic, we can be like, we think that we're secure. So I think what's happening is that you are flourishing. It's like making new friends. You're allowing yourself to finally like invite that change and that transformation, and also get what this sensuality came up. So you're healing a lot of your blocks and energies around this topic because you have issues around that, obviously. And listen, we all do, up to a level. But this block, I feel like it's finally being released, and you're finally open to receiving that love and that attention and that validation and that person who sees you for you and wants to be with you because of you. And I think you don't feel like you have to hide that as much anymore. And again, I don't feel like you hide yourself. Just remember, I'm talking specifically about love and relationships, because you get very heady about it, right? You just go into fantasy land, or very physical as well, because it's that you feel that connection. But then when it comes to embodying it in the real world, you have a hard time with that, because the heady and the heart are amazing. They're the fantasy land, but then the reality, it's like a whole different thing. So it's starting to be more grounded, and that's the standing your ground. You're becoming more grounded and safer in this, and this is what I think you just have to keep embodying, and that becomes attractive to women because something changes. I've had so many friends when I was younger who it's funny because I had one of my best friends who was like, he asked me out when he was like 19. I was like, absolutely not. I just do not see anything in him. But then later, when he became himself, suddenly I was attracted to him because I was like, what is going on? Because he changed. He became more confident. He turned out to be gay anyway, so that was fine. But it was so funny how I noticed that, and it happened to me a couple of times, how some people you just completely like, absolutely not, I'm not going there. And then the minute they become more grounded and secure within themselves, for whatever reason happens, suddenly that like they're the same person, but you see them from a different light. And I think that's what's happening for you. So you're just going through this transformation, but understand, keep it grounded, keep it real, keep it in the physical, keep it in the here world. Nothing wrong with fantasizing, nothing wrong with being attracted, okay? But if you only do that and then you can't ground it, you can't manifest it. So, yeah, but it looks good, dude. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. It's amazing that you did that. And I think that this is what you've been wanting. And I think it's, again, just understand that you're going to be tested, though. You will be tested again and again, and just hold yourself in that groundness, okay? Yes. Aw, you're so welcome, man. Hey, Jacqueline, I'm on with my husband tonight, and he wants a reading. Oh, amazing, Carla. Hello, Carla's husband. What's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the madhouse. Got it. I feel like this was one test. I'll keep grounding. Yeah, and just trusting that voice that you're hearing, Tim. Just trusting that, and just don't repeat the past. That's the key as well. Like if you keep repeating the same shit, it's gonna be the same shit. So just change it like you've been doing. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. Yes, Carla, absolutely. What's up? What's your husband's name? Bob. Bob the Bill. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Okay, cool. So what is your question, Bob? I've got Bob the Builder song in my head. I'm sorry, Bob. I did it to myself. If you come on my lives, I always got a song going, or a theme or something. So it's normal for me to do that. Isn't that right, Peanut? I've always got a song, even when I'm on set, whenever I'm filming. If somebody says a word and it reminds me of a song, I just start singing it. I can't help it. It's almost like I have to get it out of my system, or it's just going to be in there and on a loop. What you doing, Peanut? Peanut's being very cute. He's sleeping. I love him so much. Dylan, you don't know who Peanut is? Where have you been? This is Peanut. A piñata. Okay, he's looking to understand his friendships. He's a new season of life, and the old friends have fallen away, and he's ready for people who are more aligned with who he is now and with his purpose. Peanut is the king of hearts. He is the one and only, the master of the universe. Okay, so I'm going to tune into his energy with his permission, of course. He's the master of all things. He's definitely the master of this house. I'll tell you that much. He's the bossy boots. It's one thing I love about Chihuahuas is they're very confident dogs. They have no shame. He's not afraid to ask for what he wants. He just goes for it. Very demanding, very bossy. And I like it. They know what they want. Oh, nice. I like that card. You got two major arcanas. And I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm like, it's a mystery. I'll keep your reading to myself. Bob and Peanut said that they're one spirit. Well, there's a whole story about how Peanut came into my life. It's a crazy story, which maybe if we have time, I'll tell you guys. Okay. Okay, so Bob, first and foremost, the first thing that come up is that you're actually in a really good position right now because we got the Magician card. Okay. So you have the power to create now. Because when old friendships are released or are no longer connected, essentially it's a clearing, right? It's like, okay, now that we have all this time and space, because friendships can take up a lot of energy, a lot of mental and especially time, you're kind of free right now. So what I'm hearing here is that now is the time to set your intentions on what you want to create and who you want to create. Because sometimes when we want to make new friends, that's great. But if we don't set clear intentions as to what we really want to connect to, then it's harder for us, number one, to manifest that. But then we end up in these friendships that aren't really in alignment with who we are. I'll give you an example is, for instance, when I moved here in Oak Park, when I wanted to manifest, hey Deborah, good to see you. When I wanted to manifest a new relation, friendships, I really wanted to create new friends because my old friends weren't around, and I just didn't align with their lifestyle either. So I can really relate to that. And I asked for very specific things. I wanted people who did not have any drama. Okay. I used to attract people who were very dramatic, had a lot of drama, had a lot of intensity in their lives. And I just didn't want that anymore. I wanted people who were very spiritual and connected to spiritual work. I wanted people who were achievers, right? Who were going towards a direction. It's the same way as we want to create a relationship, a love relationship. So, what do you need from a friendship? Not what you want, what you need. And so it's kind of like sitting down and really thinking about these things and choosing that. Because when you choose that, then you can bring that frequency to yourself. Now, I did get the Wheel of Fortune. Again, this is a great change in action. So things are moving forward. This has all been a big change for you, like you said, and so it's just all change of frequency because you've upgraded your energy. You've done some changes, and so when we change, we sometimes relationships just don't match anymore. The new version of us just does not align. It could also mean that you physically move as well, but energetically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you just don't click with those persons anymore because they might have stayed the same or they might have gone in a different direction. And again, it's not above or below. I'm not doing that, but it's just different. And so that's okay. And that's how it is. But now you're open for new experiences. Wisdom of experience. So I feel like you've had, deep down what you want. You just haven't sat down and really like thought of it. So being very specific on that is important. And just wisdom of experiences. So looking at the old relationships and going, okay, what did I not like about these relationships? What were the biggest issues and the biggest conflicts and the biggest problems, right? Let's just say you're sober and you're attracting a lot of people who use, they might have all the other qualities, but like these are problems, right? Um, so the lovers card came up, which usually means new love energy, new connection. It is sometimes even, it can be a little bit more difficult and challenging to meet people when we're older. But again, that also can be a belief, right? So one of the things I will say, it's like if you want to meet people who are like-minded, once you know what you want, then you have to be in areas or hobbies or whatever where these people are. So let's just say, you want somebody like with me, with my friend who I wanted to, people who are more spiritual, like I met them at a spiritual place because that's usually where the people are who are more spiritual. So I do see a possibility of that. And then a sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of essence. Think things through carefully. Um, So be, I feel like this is you on a horse, Bob. Does that look like you? So I just feel like just be, I think it's pretty clear. Just understand though that sometimes when we're creating something, we might still not create the perfect relationship. I feel like you're going to create something that isn't really perfect, and then it's going to lead you to what you know. It's almost like you need one more step to get to the clarity of what you want. And then again, we've got the don't give up, protect that which you've created, have courage and believe in yourself. So sometimes we can, I don't know if it's discouraged. I feel like one of the things, it's almost like, I feel like it's almost like if somebody said something about you that maybe made you feel like it's a problem, or you're, I don't know, something like because usually when we get dragon energy, can also mean conflict. Um, the point is that I'm hearing is just stay strong in your morals and stay strong in your beliefs, regardless of what people have said or done. As long as your intentions are um, aligned, then you're on the right path and they're good. But with friendships, sometimes, we can also compromise because we want that connection. And so I feel like maybe that also could be coming up as well. So just make sure that you stay within your boundaries and integrity. I'll give you guys another example. Is like I was tested with somebody who, when I was trying to make friends, and I got rejected as well, by the way. I can be a little woo woo for some people. But there was this one girl that I was hanging out with who I enjoyed. Like, she was consistent, but she was very dramatic and she was very loud. And the final straw for me was when I saw a cycle, a pattern that was a red flag for me. And so I had the courage and the strength to go, this is not for me. And I walked away, even though as much as I would have liked the friendship to be there, I just found that there was just too many red flags. So I think that's also something just to be aware of. Like, if something doesn't fit or isn't right, don't be afraid to move on. um, it's trial and error, and really sitting down and just keep refining that list. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything else about it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But that list is the key, honestly. And again, remember, that's needs and not wants, because we all want the famous friend who's got, whatever, but that comes with other things. Like, we need somebody who understands you, who is compassionate, maybe who's sober, maybe who's not, if that's your thing. Maybe you need somebody who maybe doesn't, like, if you don't call them every day, they're not going to be dramatic about it. Or if you call them once a month, that's enough. Like, again, that's the kind of thing. Peanut, what do you think? So Peanut found me. Peanut was a manifestation. This dog was meant to be with me 110%. Crazy manifestation, crazy, crazy story. Isn't it, Jojosh? You're my soulmate. Yeah, don't tell your dad, though. He gets offended. He gets a little jealous sometimes. I know. My little baby. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks. I'm gonna be with Jessie and Roxy. Where's Roxy? Okay, yes. Part of the relationship is actually family member who recently reached out of the blue, who is coming back and we need help. So it's a bit difficult when you need friends, but other things as well. Well, I mean, you can swap the friendship with, yeah, with family. There's some caution about being vulnerable, but also wanting connection. The family member relationship is kind of parallels with friends. Okay, perfect. I mean, it's probably symbolic, and yeah. And again, I did feel, though, just stand strong. What was it? Don't give up, protect what you've created, have courage, and believe in yourself. I think those are the three key ingredients for you as well. He's someone he's admired a lot. Aw, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any connection, family and friends as well, like, they're all important. You can be friends with your family and you can also, like, hate your family. So it doesn't really matter. It's just relationships in general. But I do see the connection. So it's good. So does that help, or do you need anything else, like, more specific to know maybe about this connection? What do you think, Peanut? Stop being so cute. You're distracting me. Sorry. Hi guys. By the way, welcome everybody who's just joined. I see you guys. I'm just waiting for Carla to message back. Just heads up, guys. So I'm gonna be going on a holiday for 3 weeks. So I'm probably not gonna be back here for 3 weeks. So just FYI. Maybe about the urgent card. Stability is really at the forefront of his mind. Okay. So as in, this person can help you with finding this stability. Or do you just want stability in general? So we need to get new career moves. Okay. Oh, nice. I love this. Oop, there we go. Okay. So, new career move, healing, second chance, ego, internal politics. Okay. So, Bob, you can create anything that you want. Okay. He has been stable and this is because he's after an accident. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, has to be stable and resourced because he's tapped out from taking care of us after our accident. Okay. So, new career moves and healing a second chance. So I feel like whatever's going on is that basically, I think it's pretty straightforward here. I think there needs to be some kind of a change, obviously, in the financial stability department, right? So there has to be, I feel like, a new intention, vision. Um, I'm hearing like almost like an identity shift. Um, but this requires a lot of healing as well. Okay. So the swords in general means mental chaos, mental chatter, and whatever. So one of the things is just start getting out of your head when it comes to that negative self-talk, and just start opening up the possibility that there is a solution, that there is another way, and maybe this person can give you, I don't see them specifically, but I do see healing and second chance. So you are going to be given a second chance, you are going to be given an opportunity, there is going to be some doors opening, but you have to release all of that mental clutter and that mental whatever. And especially the ego came up. Okay. So internal politics. So again, that mental chaos for you, Bob, is very strong. The ego is often what we identify with. So we have to be very careful with our identity and what identity we've chosen. So for instance, let's just say, I'm not sure what's going on, Carla, but like if there's an accident or if there's instability, maybe we've identified that life is difficult and it's hard and it's painful and there's struggle. Now, that can be the reality of it. I'm not taking that away. But if you keep identifying with that and that's what you believe and that's what you hold on to, then you keep recreating that. And then the universe is going to go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Here's more pain. Here's more suffering. Here's more challenges. So there is an opportunity to free yourself from this by beginning to shift that identity. I don't know if this person can be an inspiration for you to start seeing how they think, how they live. Why do they have this ability and I don't? You can make all of the reasons, right? Maybe, I don't know, you might have some physical challenge, or maybe I'm not the right age. Okay, so we can give ourselves all of these things, which again, I'm not taking away that they're not valid, but then why are other people still in that age or that disability or that thing and they can still succeed? And again, it's identity. It always comes down to identity, how I identify myself with. So what I'm really hearing here is that you really got to just, and the reason, by the way, we identify with these things is because they serve us in one way or another. They make us feel safe. It's known, it's familiar. It's just what I've known again. So it could just be that, I grew up with like struggle, and what do you mean you don't have to struggle? Like that doesn't even compute in my DNA. So the point is, but it can. I always like to share the story of when I, like, even recently, I still have a lot of blocks around fully enjoying life for me and also feeling like that full flow of bliss and happiness and ease, because I've identified as well with pain. And if I keep diving deeper and deeper as to what I gain from that pain, is I gain protection. When I'm have this dark energy around me, I repel people, or I keep some sort of solid shield that basically doesn't allow me to get hurt as easy, even though I'm suffering. So that awareness, and really, like, it can bruise a little bit, because you're like, shit, this whole time I've been like okay with this for some reason, and I'm choosing this. At some point you do choose it, even though yes, trauma has happened, bad things have happened, only up to a point. And then after that, you're the one really who keeps choosing that identity moving forward. even with my family, like I say, I have a lot of resentment and anger, and I can only blame my family so long for the trauma that I've experienced. I've experienced it, but then I keep experiencing it now by holding on to that identity. So hopefully this is making sense. So what I'm hearing here is this is a huge opportunity for you to start like basically shifting what that means and who you'd like to embody, and what does that, what is a secure person, what does Bob's secure version of him looks like and feels like. How do they wake up in the morning regardless of what's going on the outside? Okay, we're talking inner work to then manifest on the outer work, because when we shift the inner work we change our actions. you know um, to change your reality, you have to change your identity, which means you have to change the way that you think, that you feel, and you act. So your thoughts are always the first thing that have to change. One of the things that I've also been doing with myself lately, I don't know if this is going to help anyone, is that anytime I've been having a negative thought, I have this weird thing in the morning that my brain likes to go into dramatic case scenarios. It's an old program that's come up again for some reason. And so I'll think about like animal torture or like something really messed up that really just does not help me in the morning, first thing that I think about. And I will directly talk to my brain and say, hey, brain, thank you so much for sharing this, but can you actually give me something that makes me feel good, that elevates my energy, and that makes me feel aligned? And ever since I've been doing that, my brain has actually stopped doing that now. So it's the little things that we do and choose that can help us. So I don't know if that's helping, but the point is there has to be some mental changes here. It always starts with the mind, with the way that you think, with the way that you look at the world. Is the world a bad place or a good place to you right now? And that tells you a lot about your inner world. If everybody's the enemy and everybody's messed up and everything is difficult, the world is a negative place. So how do we change that within us to begin to create a world that at least it's a little bit better than where we're at? And when we change that, things start changing. Our energy, our relationships, our connection to people start changing. And it's not easy, but it can be done. And when you do it, when you start seeing things change, you're on track. So, but yeah, there needs to be some kind of a shift there. New career moves. It's just a new identity. Embody the Bob that again, the version of you that is stable and that is secure and that feels strong and grounded, acts, thinks, and feels very different to the version of you that is unstable, that is not feeling secure, and all these sort of things. So again, identifying and looking at that, and what would they do in the situation, what would they think, and the answers to this for the most part. So it's like constantly tuning into that and just saying, this is a part of me now. This is who I am now. This is this, and I'm letting go of that old version. Is this serving me? Is this thinking serving me? Is this helping me? You might be right, but do you want to be right or happy? You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. Sometimes people just want to be right because it's the only power that they hold. I'm not saying that that's what you do, Bob, but it could be. I definitely like to do that. So I just want to be right, and it's like, is this really serving? So I would sit there and debate people and argue with people, but then I'm like, oh, do I want to be happy and at peace? I'm like, I'm going to choose the peace. So then you just let it go. You're like, whatever, happy, high five to you, and then move on. So it's like interrupting the old thoughts, looping with the process you described. Yes. I would really, guys, suggest, like, if you can do this, I'm telling you, it's been so powerful. Like, every time I've caught myself going down a spiral, a mental spiral, which I do them very often, like, I will always play these scenarios in my head for some reason with my family, or I'm having an argument with my dad that I've never had. Suddenly I'm like, yeah, no, fuck you and this, and you didn't do this, and you're a terrible person, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll start doing that, right? Because I have all this resentment in me. So I'll just stop and I'm like, yo, 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 wait, stop, stop, stop. Is this serving me? I might be right to feel this way. It might be possibly what could happen, but is this helping me right now? No. Okay, mind. Please change this into something that elevates my frequency, that aligns me into a love state, and that allows me to feel more peaceful within me. Suddenly, when you call it out, it can no longer grip onto that, and no longer you go down that spiral. It has to change. And if it does, you just catch it again. Hey, I just asked you, mind. I literally say mind. I say it out loud sometimes, or in my head. I'll literally stop and have that conversation to myself. And I'm telling you, it's been life changing for me. So this is the things that we have to start doing. And it's as crazy as they sound. If they work, who cares? If it makes you happier, wealthier, and better, Go for it. That's what I say. So does that make sense, Carla or Bob? Want. Oh, oh yeah. And definitely you have to break the loops. Yes. And catch and also just being aware of the fact that you are thinking negative, that can be very difficult to begin with because you go into when you're in the subconscious, it's like when you're driving from home to work, you suddenly go like, oh God, I've been driving this whole time. Like you don't even know that you've been doing it. So sometimes even just checking in and saying, check in, what am I thinking right now? You know, because it's like in the Maya, you're in the, you don't even know that you're doing it half the time. And so being able to catch that and go, whoa, 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 wait a minute, where are you going? No, 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 no. Let's go this way. That is so powerful. Identifying loops, odd half, add half the yeah, it's half the battle for sure. But like I've noticed that now when I wake up in the morning, I'm not my brain knows that I'm going to catch it and I'm going to have that conversation, so it stopped doing it. And you got to remember, it's your brain. Like it works for you, but we don't work with it. So the brain is going to do what it's going to do to keep us safe. But if we start instructing it and actually working with it, it's going to start working because it wants to make us happy and it wants to make us feel more at peace. So when we can catch it and go, hey, can you please think about something that is nicer or that is more in alignment with something that allows me to create more abundance, more love, more safety? Can you do that, please? Oh, okay, sorry. It's a machine. Our son is having a hard time right now, by the way. So he's had to step away. So even managing that, yeah, this is good advice. He's been practicing some of this already, but it's about going deeper and staying consistent. Absolutely. The consistency is the most important thing, but like again, he probably is not catching half of it in screen recording so I can play it for him later. Oh, okay, amazing. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, man, Bob, sending you love, man. You got this. Just, I really like, I do affirmations every day. I'm starting to write in my diary. I've been doing mirror work. Like, if I set my mind to change something, I do everything possible because I don't, I know what it's like to heal from something and I know what it's like to be unhealed. I will choose the healed any day and I will do the work any day, even if it requires time and energy and effort and risk because there's nothing riskier than wanting to heal yourself and make your life better. And it can be scary because you have to do sometimes things that are considered weird, like I said, or uncomfortable. Nothing's going to be more uncomfortable than being in pain or suffering or being poor or being, you know, not feeling love. Nothing's going to beat that. So do the work, get uncomfortable. It's just different. It's not really even that uncomfortable. Oh, you're so welcome, Carla. What you think, Peanut? Okay, so we are at 4:30. Okay, cool. Okay, so I will take a few more questions, guys. If anybody has any more questions, I'm gonna do a quicker reading now, just because time-wise, I've got some stuff that I gotta get going today. But let me know if you have any questions. Peanut will also help out by doing absolutely nothing and being cute. I wish I had a camera so you guys could just see him. He's just like, oh, that's nice, Tim. Yeah, so like I said, guys, so I'm going away from next week, so I won't be back for a few weeks, but I will try to pre-post some meditations. Maybe when I'm in Italy, I will make maybe a live there if time-wise and things work out and I get the impulse to do it. But I'm going to go away for a while and I'm going to do a big reset. I'm doing a full-on identity shift, and looking forward to it. I'm happy for a um, new intentions, new energy, new something, you know. I think it's important to once in a while check in, and I think it's a lot of letting go and a lot of shedding, you know. I've had an ego death before. I don't feel like it's going to be like a full on ego death, but at least some sort of direction. Oh, thank you. Spicy Italian live could be, yeah, well, it's beautiful there. So if the Wi-Fi is just my dad's place, sometimes the Wi-Fi isn't that great. So it just depends. But it'll be awesome if I could do that. I think also depending on time wise, because Italy and the US is, yeah, it's going to be a weird one. But yeah. Okay. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free now. Let me know. I'm happy also still to pull a card. So let me know. But I will have to close out earlier today because I'm teaching. Peanut's not teaching. Peanut's not going to do anything today. He's just going to do this. He's going to bite me in the face one of these days, by the way. He does do that once in a while. Okay, let me stop this 1 second.